Cheers, thank you.
Okay, right. So really, I just was going to give a sort of a basic introduction to the tremolo, and what it is, and sort of what you can do with it, but also what some of the sort of the similarities and differences are between the tremolo and chromatics and normal like diatonics. So I've got one here in C. So we'll just from the very sort of beginning, you probably already know this, but the difference between tremolos and single reed harmonicas, which your normal ones are, is that for each note you've got two reeds, and they're tuned just slightly apart, and that creates the tremolo sort of sound. So like I'll play the sort of the two single notes, and you can hear that the difference in tone. So that second one, it's a bit flatter. When you play them together, you get that sort of tremolo sound. So that's sort of the basic sound of the tremolo. You can get other ones which are tuned with octaves apart instead of being tuned with the same note slightly apart. So they will sound like this. But it's the same layout and the same, so you can play it just the same. So really, maybe what I should do first is just play a bit of music so you can sort of get an idea of the kind of thing that you can do with a tremolo. So we'll just do a reel called Fisherman's Lilt. So there we go. That's and the tremolo really sort of suits that kind of music, the sort of traditional, like Celtic, or like Morris dance type stuff, or any sort of like traditional music. It just it works. It's really good for getting sort of good bouncy rhythms. So they come in different sort of tunings, and some will be more familiar than others. But basically, you can get ones that are tuned the same as a normal sort of diatonic harmonica. So they're Richter tuned. So the bottom half you get that chord sound, and then the top half, the top two octaves, are tuned exactly the same. So there's pros and cons to that. So the good thing is you get a great sort of that big nice chord, but what you lose is notes, which, unlike on a diatonic, you can't bend the notes to get them. So but I haven't actually got a Richter tuned tremolo, but I've got an octave tuned one. So this one's in G, but so that's the bottom half. You've got that chord, whereas a solo tuned one, which I'll talk about in a minute, you don't have that chord. So that's what it sounds like if you just blow into it at the bottom half, compared to and that bottom half is really good for like tongue blocking and just, yeah, it's got that nice sound, but you lose the notes. So the solo tuned ones, that's what I tend to play more, because I think that they're more useful, because you don't because you got all the notes, and there's nothing worse than not being able to play something because there's notes missing. So I've taken from the Suzuki website a sort of a note layout thing to sort of show you. So Sam, how do I sort of share a screen thing?
You on a PC?
Oh, it's a Mac.
Oh right, yeah. So at the bottom there should be a little green arrow saying share screen.
Oh yeah. Right. So, whiteboard. So just desktop one, I guess.
It should anything that's open on your
Yeah.
on your
Right,
desktop.
so where's that gone? Hang on a sec. Oh no, just a minute. Sorry about this.
No, don't worry.
Where is it? Okay. Oh, I can't
You can
find.
put it in the chat box if you prefer, Simon.
Oh, okay. Hang on a sec. I don't know how I do that. Well, I can sort of describe it to you, but I thought it might be easier to be able to see it, but I don't know how to get it sort of shared. Okay, I'll just try one more thing and then see if it does it, and if it doesn't, then I'll just. Okay, I don't know why, but anyway, I'll just talk about it. So on a solo tuned tremolo, the bottom two octaves are basically tuned the same as a chromatic would be. You've got a repeating pattern of sort of do 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 do. But then the top half, the top octave, is tuned like the top octave of a diatonic. So it's kind of like a hybrid between the octave tuning, the chromatic tuning, and the diatonic tuning. So I don't know if you want to just try and do some scales. If you just do it. So I'll do sort of, hang on, get my finger on camera, like, you know, in, out, in, sort of, so. There's a missing note. So it's one of the challenges is having the sort of the different note layouts to sort of get your head around. And the next thing that can be a bit can throw you off is, I've said that the bottom two octaves are sort of tuned the same, which is almost true, but it's not actually quite true, because what you can do is you can think of each, so that, you know, they're divided up more than on a diatonic. So if you got normally a diatonic and you blow into the hole, and you know when you sort of draw through, you know what note you're going to get. But on this, if you you know, so I'll just try and show you. So like that's one note. If you have to blow or draw through that to get a sound, but if you draw, say if it's a blow note and you draw, you won't get any sound because there aren't the reeds there. So what you really need to do is think of each set of four holes as a single hole, because that way you've got the draw and the blow notes in there. And on a diatonic, that would just be one big fat hole. But on the tremolo, it's divided. So you need to think of it as a single hole. And then, you know, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there's a little catch, and the catch is that in the middle octave, so I'll show you. There's the C, and when there's a little on my one. I don't know about the one that anyone else has got. Where are we? There's a little dot showing you where the C is. So that's a blow note, and then the next one is a draw note. So that's one hole, and the bottom there's the blow, and there's the draw. So, but on the bottom half, the holes are backwards, and it might start sounding really confusing and stuff. And the best way is just to sort of play it and start getting a feel for it. But if you think of each four as a single hole, you will be able to get the note. But it feels slightly different because the space that you have to move up and down is sort of slightly different. So then you can end up where you've got a really nice clean note on a blow, and then you bring you do a draw and you expect it to go, but if you're not careful, you'll be a fraction too low and it'll go. So and then it'd be easier if I had the layout to show you, but when you there's a sort of an overlap with this C, this sort of second C, because if you look at it like this, so you've got hole 1, hole 2, hole 3, hole 4, but then if you go up to hole 5, there isn't a C there. So like you kind of need to think of on the bottom octave, like there's your dot, and sort of there's your 4 holes, and then as you move up to the next octave, your next blow note, if you're going up the scale, sort of use that, and if you're going down, kind of use that. You can do it in a more sort of intuitive way by just feeling, but it's just something to sort of really be aware of, because it can really throw you when you first start, because you haven't got the nice single hole that allows you to know what note you're definitely going to get when you draw. So I'll just have a drink of water. But there's lots of things that is that, Ben, have you got your hand up? Hang on a sec. Ben, I can see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Okay. If you could let us know where on the Suzuki website you're looking, we could just
that's a good idea.
look at that independently.
That's a very good idea. If you just, I think you just do a search for like tremolo solo tuned note layout, and hang on, let me see. That's all I did, and that sort of came up. I went on the images search.
I'll
It
have
would be easier if you could see it.
I'll have a look, and then I'll put the link in the chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Because it shows you ones for different. They sort of make them different lengths as well, with sort of extra notes at the end. But the kind of the middle bit is always the same on the sort of 21 hole. Then that bit is the same, and then there's ones with extra notes at the end. But in terms of like playing techniques, I personally like tongue blocking a lot on a tremolo, because it allows you to give the extra sort of rhythmic chord stuff. So I'll maybe just play something again, just to sort of give you a demonstration of the of what I mean. So it gives it some life with the tongue blocking. But equally, you can just use the sort of pucker type, technique. But I don't tend to do that. But there's no reason why you shouldn't. But I find also you just I think you get a better tone by tongue blocking. So like, I'll see if you can hear any difference, but that's with the tongue block. That's with the pucker. Tongue block. Pucker. So yeah, for me, I think that the tongue blocking is the way to go. But a lot of it with the tremolo is really just sort of feeling your way around, and having a tune in your head, and feeling your way around. But you can, so maybe if we maybe try and play some stuff. I mean, one that I thought of, which I mean, it might be a bit cheesy, but "Oh Susanna" is a tune that everyone has. They know it in their head, and could try and just sort of just find their way around. And you can do it if you got a Richter or a solo tuned. There's nothing wrong with just sort of really doing it really roughly, like sort of. Because you can kind of do the tune as like just a sketch, just to find your way around, and then make it cleaner later as you sort of progress, sort of thing. So I'll do a sort of hand gesture for in out. I don't know if it'll help you. That's really hard, actually. I'm not sure if that was helpful with it to anyone or not. you can also play. You can actually do octaves and stuff in the same way as you can a other harmonicas, but they're sort of harder on the draw because the way the notes are laid out, the spacing varies between the distance. So like on a diatonic, you've just got those two in the middle, but like on a tremolo, it's a quite a wide mouth you need, and it does vary a bit, but it's harder on the draw. So yeah, has anyone got any sort of questions so far from what? Oh, sorry, I've just seen. Never play. Oh no, sorry, John. I maybe put you off the tremolo. Never mind. The second tune was called the Sheffield Waltz, which I learned because I live in Sheffield. So there you go. Oh, great. Thank you, John. So yeah, any other questions? If not, we'll look at maybe trying to sort of. It's hard to sort of maybe try and play some tunes without us all being able to hear, but I think the another one I thought was the Skyboat song, because everyone sort of knows how it goes, and you can just kind of find your way around. So if we just sort of play it really slowly. Oh, except how does it go? Yeah. That's so. Let's not worry about being too sort of clean or accurate. Just sort of get a vague feeling for that. So yeah. Okay. Trevor's asked, are tremolo harps available in all 12 keys? And yeah, as far as I know, they are. There's some models are only available in certain keys, but I think that pretty sure that Tombow make ones in all 12 keys. You might have to get the sort of the premium ones, but yeah, I think you can. So what have we got? Holding it. Ah, right, yeah. I don't tend to I don't tend to really cup it, but I don't know why. I think it's because it's quite long, and I don't know how much difference it makes when you do cup it on it. Oh, maybe it does actually, but I think it's just up to you. If you want to do that, then go for it. But I think sometimes you're moving sort of a bit sort of quickly, and maybe on the slower ones it might work. So Steve Milroy says, mine is C on one side and G on the other and has 24 holes. Is it any good to start on? Yeah, it's absolutely fine to start on. And it's good to have two keys to play in. I mean, really, any of them, any are good to start on. But you might find that that the one you've got is Richter tuned, and that some of the melodies you want to play require notes that just aren't on your the one you've got. So if that happens, then you might have to buy one that's solo tuned, so you can play play all the notes. But yeah, it's fine to start off with. Okay, so you can also what might be sort of familiar is playing in different sort of modes on the tremolo. So you know, the Dorian mode is quite a common sort of mode used in traditional music. So that would start with the second, the first hole, but on a draw. So and you can also play. So maybe we should all just do that for a minute, rather than just rushing through. So yeah, so if you get the get a nice clean sort of C, and then play the draw in to get the D, and that's the note that the scale starts on. So so let me sort of direct you for whether it's a blow or a draw. So I'll do it again. Another good sort of minor key that you can play on the tremolo is just the natural minor relative to the key. So if you're in C, then that would be A minor. So if we just start on the C at the bottom and sort of go up the octave to the A, so there's the A, and that's the root of your scale. So, and then if we go up the scale from there, and I'll give you the sort of direction. So it starts, the next note from the A is a draw, and it's the next hole up. So hang on. We'll do that again. Sorry, that's my fault. We'll start from the top, sorry. So you've got that bottom bit where it starts with a draw and then goes straight up to a draw on the next hole up. yeah, they're both draws, the first two notes. So maybe I'll just play something in one of those keys, the minor key, the A minor. So yes, there you go. That one is called The Wounded Hussar. So yeah, as Sam's pointed out, the first sort of minor key scale we did is the same as the third position on a diatonic. Yeah, it's the same. And as like Neil was saying before, though, yeah, I think on the tremolo, I guess you kind of can think about things as being in positions the same way you do on a diatonic. But yeah, I do tend to just think of the sort of the scale, but I guess it's just whatever makes sense. So yeah, does anyone else have any more questions? Because this is yeah, no.
I've got loads of questions actually, Simon.
Okay, yeah, go on then.
Okay, so what's a good starting model, and what sort of cost and what key would you go for?
Well, the Tombo band ones are really good, and they're about, I think they're about £40. You can definitely get cheaper ones, which will probably work. I know Suzuki make some more sort of budget models that I've had a go on and seem pretty good, to be honest. And I think, I don't know, they're maybe only about 20 quid or something. So, you know, if you're not sure if you want to sort of really get into it, just buy a sort of a cheap one. But yeah, I think the Suzuki are pretty decent. And then they do a sort of higher end, the humming ones, which I think they're sort of £40-50, and they're really good. But the Tombo, the ones that I like, they're about £40, and they're solo tuned, so you've got all the notes. So yeah.
So I can say what's the best key? Because I'm thinking if you know,
Best key, yeah.
Everyone will go onto YouTube. So what's the best key to?
Well, it depends what kind of music you want to play, but most sort of the most common keys in sort of traditional music are D and G, with some A as well, and so a bit of C, but like D and G are sort of are the big ones. So you get quite there's a sort of a bit of a difference in the sort of the pitch of the two. So like G is sort of tuned lower, so it can sound a bit more. It's not as sort of snappy as when you as a D one, but then the D one can get a bit squeaky up at the top. So here's a D. And a G. So you might choose on a G one to play something sort of on the top half of the of the harmonica, and on a D one on the bottom half, just because you know, the bottom half of the G can be a bit sort of I don't know, flappy. I don't know if that's the word. And the top half of the D can be a bit sort of squeaky. But yeah, but A and C are quite nice, sort of all the way along. Okay. So yeah.
We've got a question there. Can you see that one?
Echo double-sided in C, G, and AD. It covers. Oh right, okay, yeah. So we'll first question. We'll do Ben. What does Asian tuned tremolos mean? So what I've been sort of playing on here is an Asian tuned tremolo, which is the sort of solo tuned ones. The sort of the European ones like Hona and Seidel and stuff, they've started making these harmonicas like this, but traditionally they made ones that were Richter tuned, and they also tended to be have a bigger tremolo effect. The Asian ones have what they describe as a drier sound, so like less tremolo, and the European ones tend to have a wetter sound with more tremolo. But without sort of going sort of and disappearing and finding a European one, I can't sort of show you the difference. But the closer the two reeds are tuned to each other, the less tremolo you get, and then if you tune them more apart, you get more of the whoa 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 whoa. So I think you get a slightly cleaner sound with the sort of Asian tuned ones. So then Pam has said double Hona echoes double-sided. Yeah, C, G, and AD cover most trad. So yeah, in terms of keys, like that's got you covered, and that's just a single harmonica. So you know, on the one hand, that's brilliant, but then also, I think it's a Richter tuned one. So then you have got notes that you might miss, and then you can't play all the tunes you want to play. So Steve, I got mine from China on eBay. Does that mean it's Asia tuned? I don't know if it necessarily means that. The way to find out is to play it and see if it's the bottom octave is tuned with all the notes, or you've got a chord. Ben is waving. Hang on a minute.
Oh.
Hello, Ben. Oh. No, okay. Right, apologies. Let's see what's next. Want to play individual notes going up. One blow, two draw. Yeah, so John, it's not a silly question at all. And I might have sort of slightly confused everyone talking about this earlier. But you repeat that pattern until you get to the B. So it's blow, one blow. Well, it's more like, it depends how you think of the holes, because if you think of the four holes as a single hole, then it's one blow, one draw, two blow, two draw, three blow, three draw, and then four draw, four blow. If you want to think of all these holes as individual holes, then it's slightly more complicated, because sorry, you can't see what I'm pointing at. As I was saying before, the way that these are tuned is, so you would think that the first hole would be the blow and that would be the C, but it's not. That one is the blow and the C. So it's like C, D, E, F, G, A, which there's a logic to it, but it's slightly confusing. So, but I think that your best bet is to think of them as sets of four, and there's one. So it's blow, draw, blow, draw, blow, draw. If that doesn't make sense, just let us know. So Pam, I've tuned out the Richter notes on my Honers. Dave, not Pam. It's the wife's Zoom. Sorry. Tuned out the Richter notes. Oh, right. Okay. So, like, oh, so hang on a minute. So Dave, have you put it like like a Paddy Richter? I'm not quite sure. So Ernie, can you demonstrate whistle and smile lip formation to play single reed or chord? Okay, I'm not sure quite what the smile lip formation is. So, but for the tongue block, it's covering putting your mouth over. I don't even know how many holes, just a selection, and just leaving the little bit of gap there, and then using your tongue to block the rest. So, like that, leaving a little gap, a little gap there. And then if you wanted to sort of do the pucker or whistle, if that's then it's just doing that. So yeah, I hope this has been useful. If there's any other questions, I feel like might have just thrown loads of information.
No, that's. I've got a few more, Simon.
Yeah.
So who would play tremolo? What styles of music? I mean, I know like Irish traditional, Northumberland, and the Far East.
Yeah.
That's over there.
Well, they're the main ones. Yeah, traditional music. Yeah, Northumbrian, Scottish, Irish. I think that's where it's mostly used, sort of. But there's probably a whole world of tremolo that I'm not even aware of, because I know it's huge in the East, in Asia. It's the main harmonica. So to be honest, I don't actually know a lot of what they play on it, other than they love it, and it's massive there compared to diatonics. But yeah,
it's very romantic. It's all romantic stuff. Very cheesy, romantic tunes.
Right. So let's just read what we've got. Okay.
Can I just add there that the Richter ones you tend to hear in country music? The guy who plays with Willie Nelson, Mickey Raphael, he uses a tremolo in Richter tuning quite a bit.
Yeah. I need to listen to a bit more of him. I've heard of him, but I'm not really delved in. So cool. Ben Hewlett, I have an idea to share. Yes, Ben?
Would okay. You're probably gonna hate this, and Ernie Gordon will want to kill me afterwards, and Roy Hugman. I just got some masking tape and stuck it on the lower half.
Oh yeah.
And now it sounds, if I could do it right, it would sound more like a diatonic with no tremolo.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
I know that wrecks the point of it, so I apologise to tremolo players. I'd just like to look at other ways of doing things.
Yeah, well, playing just one row of notes is a thing. And yeah, you can bend on them, but... but yeah, but then it sort of disrupts your sort of. But yeah, there's probably is something in there to you know, to play with.
So you've got quite a few questions there. I think John Clark is happy. Never played it before. I played Oh Susanna. And as far as he's concerned, that's a huge success. So that's good.
Yeah. So retune To Asian from Richter on a D. Oh, okay. I never actually thought about trying to just retune a Richter one. But yeah. So how to max the rhythm effect, part, etc.
Is that vamping?
Yeah. Well, I'll maybe, because I was going to sort of maybe talk a bit about rhythm in the next one. So
yeah, well, leave it till then. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
We've got Steve saying his granny played Scottish music on her harmonicas. So this is what the Muthi is, isn't it? So I used to.
This is the Muthi. Yeah.
I used to read Orwell as well.
Only from which team? Athletics,
Oh.
Lions, or Indian?
That's somehow Siri has been activated on my machine. Sorry about that.
Oh, is that what's going on? So can I ask? I know it's not Pam, it's Dave. Is it? Are there a lot of harmonicas, tremolos getting played in Orkney? Can you play Cajun music on tremolos? I'm absolutely sure that you can, but I don't really know a lot of Cajun music. I think that it works well on the octave tuned ones, but I don't really know any Cajun to play. But it's got that. It does have that sort of Cajun sound. Just the tone of the octaves. It sounds like whatever kind of squeeze boxes they use in that music. So yeah, I'd go for the octaves if you're playing Cajun.
I've got a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
How many years have you been playing, and why did you choose a tremolo over? I mean, I know you play diatonic and chromatic.
Yeah. Well, I think like probably most of us here had a harmonica when I was a kid, and just like playing it. But then I then got into traditional music, and I play the fiddle as well. So it's just natural once you've got a tune learn on one instrument, you try and play it on another. And the tremolo, it's just it's got all the notes. That's one of the beauties of it. Unlike the the blues harp where you have to bend and stuff. I know like now there's people finding ways around it with like Paddy Victor and stuff like that. But when I started out, that was one of the good things about the tremolo, just all the notes, and it's got that sort of sound. So that's how I got into it really. And listening to like Will Atkinson recordings, that made me think, that's something that you can do. So yeah.
Brilliant. So have we got any more questions from anyone? No? So we can end that first session here if you like, but what I like about the Irish music is when it's played in the Dorian, so you got like the major sixth, haven't you, rather than the minor. Do you think
Yeah.
How's that a little jiggle reel just to... Well,
actually, that is something that I was going to do on the next one as well. So,
okay.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Let's go for a break then.
Cool.
Okay. What time is it now? Oh, is 10 minutes okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll just run slightly over there, yeah. That's fine.
Thank you, Simon. That was really, really good. Top stuff. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Thanks very much, Simon. That's well done.
Cool. All right. Cheers. Well, we'll be back in a bit.
Okay. I'll unmute everybody and run like I did before. Oh. It's gone. thought it's going to be to take away from sounds. How's everyone finding these sessions? Just while waiting, it'd be quite good to get some feedback. Trying to see who's there. There's John.
Hello.
Hiya.
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it so far. Absolutely brilliant.
Were you? I think you were here last week. Were you? Did you come last week?
I missed last week's session, but I was here on Friday for the social.
Yeah, for the 11 a.m. cup of tea.
Yeah.
Some people have said that because they last for 3 hours, it's probably a little bit too long. How people finding that? Is it too long or I mean, I'm just wondering whether or not to do 2 sessions or I've got a chap called Ben Bauman. He's a Dutch guy who does plays diatonic, but he does a lot of customizing as well. So it could be the idea is for him to do a little workshop and then talk about customizing harmonicas. Obviously, that's for diatonic, but I just probably do that over an hour and a half and then call it, stick with that format rather than trying to get like 3 hours every week. It's but say any feedback's brilliant. You okay, Simon?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did really well. I really enjoyed that.
I hope that was all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite difficult, Simon, I think, to do a sort of an introduction to the tremolo. It almost, in some ways, it comes across as being a little bit too complicated.
I know, that's the thing.
Intuitive, and I was you've got my sort of sympathy. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You did bloody well.
Oh well, thanks. I wasn't sure if it was just confusing everyone or just rambling.
You did good.
It is hard because it's sort of, in a way, it's really simple, but there's just loads of subtle things about it that don't make sense to start with until you've sort of got your head around it.
Yeah.
Once you have, you understand why they're there, but until then, you know, you can pick it up and just like, what is like, why have they done that? Why are these notes arranged the way they are? And you know,
it's almost useful not to know that.
Yeah, maybe it is.
If you're starting from scratch, I think the problem is we have it. Or what makes it more difficult is that we have people making a transition from the diatonic to the tremolo, and then trying to explain that is a real effort. You did really well.
Oh well, good. Yeah, thanks.
I'm trying to go the other way.
I think to go straight on the tremolo.
Can I just, Roy, can I just ask you, I lost your email. I don't know where it went. I want to speak to you. Can you give me another email, please?
Yeah, I will, Ben. Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you. Is that Sean Spicer there? Mr. You are Mesolithic. Is that Sean Spicer?
No.
Looks like Sean Spicer to me, but he's not answering. Sean, is that Sean?
With the glasses?
No. Where it says his name is Ewer Mesolithic.
No, it's not adding there.
Okay, might be wrong.
So, have you got any documents to share in this next one? I'm just wondering whether or not it's.
No, I don't. I'm looking at it.
I was just to say, use these last couple of minutes to see if you can get it.
Oh yeah. No,
that's right.
Yeah.
If you send me what you had, and I can put that on the website for you.
Okay. Yeah.
The one we didn't see.
No, yeah. I mean, it was just lifted straight off the Suzuki website. So I don't know if you're allowed to put it on or what. But
well, I wouldn't.
You can put a link to it. There's no problems with that.
Yeah.
I did put a link to it quite early on. Where is it? Just going through the. Here we go. I'll do it again. I'll copy and paste that into here. There we go. How are we doing? A couple more minutes.
Oh yeah,
Everyone's almost
I've
back.
got my water. Just a minute.
Okay, Ben.
Sorry?
I said you're okay.
Yeah, it's really good. I like it. And we've also got Ernie Gordon here, if you noticed that. I just spoke to him on the phone. He's I think he's listening but doesn't have. Oh, and a Dalek as well, obviously. That was quite nice.
Oh my God.
So Ernie's here. I don't think he hasn't got his camera hooked up. I think he's on his own, hasn't got anybody to help him with that. But he's Ernie and Roy are also extremely fine tremolo players who both have played at our festival, haven't they?
Yeah, that was a great privilege to do that. I was really chuffed.
So maybe Simon will give Roy a chance to play something if there's time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or Ernie if he's able to get the audio.
Yeah. When do you want that? Anytime. Just give me.
Just go for it if you like.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just using a D. It's actually a Yamaha, and we just can't get them anymore. But I thought, you were explaining about getting different keys on the same harmonica earlier on, and I thought that was very good. And I noticed in the magazine a little while back, George Current was talking about playing some of the Scottish tunes, pipe tunes, and so some of them are in A mixodylion, and I'm using a D harmonica here, and I thought I'd do sort of Campbell's Farewell to Redcastle for you. Well, there's a tune on the end there, Terabus, which is a Bordes march, and that's in D major. So you can play, you're playing in A mixolydian and then in D major on the same with you. It's great. It's great fun to actually try these things out.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Anyway,
no, that's great. I'm just going to plug my laptop in because it's just running low. Hang on a sec.
Just while you're in that, Simon, there's a question from John Clark. What styles of music are more commonly played on the tremolo?
Yeah, well, like we were saying, I think it does tend to be the sort of traditional music of sort of, well, you know, in the British Isles, so Irish, Scottish, Northumbrian, and some of the English stuff. But then, yeah, there probably is a whole world of tremolo music out there that I don't really know about. But I think here they're the sort of styles that you tend to hear. But if anyone's got knows of any sort of other styles or, you know, links that they could put up to players or anything, then, you know, that'd be great if they do.
Yeah, I've been with my band. We do quite a lot of Jamaican ska, and using the tremolo style of Roy Richards to play ska.
Right, yeah. You do hear it.
Can we hear a bit? Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Well, okay. I can give you a little simple melody.
Yes, please.
There's a song that we do, which is one of our own actually, called Jamaican Jive, which is actually a vocal number, but it starts with a harmonica introduction. So the one I use actually, this is a Seidel fanfare in C. So anyway. And then it goes into the song, and we use chords and so forth. So that's
great.
Yeah.
I can hear the sort of the reggae beat behind that.
Yeah. You know, so it's all that.
Yeah.
You know. So when the saxophone player in the band takes a solo, I use a tremolo wheel to play the chords behind him, because it's just C, F, and G. So I'm using my C, F, and G on the tremolo wheel to.
That's good. Yeah.
To do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought of one of them is like a big chord harmonica in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's a bit more manageable.
Yeah.
How many spokes are on your wheel there?
There's six. So yeah, so it's it goes around in the cycle of fifths. So it goes from C. I've got to remember the cycle of fifths now. C to G. And then I think it would be a D here, and so on. Yeah, and then from the C this way, I've got F, and then it would go to B flat.
And then you presumably like at the relative minor, haven't you? So on a C, it would be A minor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You got a good.
But so yes, it makes quite a nice little visual effect when I'm playing with the band, because, you know, people wonder what the heck I'm doing with this sort of thing, you know. But I have toyed with the idea of getting a chord harmonica as well. But I mean, that might be just a bit, you know.
Do it.
I suppose we better hand over to you now, Simon. Then, just before you do, thanks everyone for tuning in today. You can show how old I am tuning in, but it's been very, very well attended, and sort of really pleased that it's beautiful sunshine. Just lost a pencil. Beautiful sunshine over there. So really, really appreciate you tuning in. So I'm going to be quiet now, and it's over to Simon again.
Okay. So, what I thought was we'd look at a a tune called the Swallow's Tail Jig, which is one of the sort of fairly simple tune, and it's often one that is sort of one of people's first sort of tunes. So we'll look at that, and we'll maybe, even if we don't end up sort of learning the whole thing, but it's a simple tune, but there's a lot in it that that when you break it down, there's a lot of sort of technical challenges in there that are worth sort of looking at. So if I'll play it.
What key's that, Simon? What key was that in?
Oh, C. I was using a C, but normally it's normally an E minor, so you'd normally use a D. But yeah, just sort of for the sake of, because I thought more people would probably have Cs.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
So, so with that tune, so first of all, the key is a minor key, and it is in the Dorian mode. So, like I was talking about before, the first note is the second note of a major scale. So on a C, that would be the D. So there's a C, and then D. So maybe it's worth just going up and down that scale again. So. I confused everyone by pointing the wrong way then, but start again. So everyone hear me? Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, yeah. And it's a jig, so it's in 6/8 time. So that's got two beats per bar, but the beats are divided into 3. So it's that's the basic rhythm. So so the first sort of phrase, sorry, we'll just start with the very first bit and look at what sort of challenges there are in playing that. So first of all, you've got a bit of a jump over notes. So I think it's worth just doing that little bit as a loop. We'll do it really slowly, and just try and play it sort of as cleanly as you can, but we'll just do it really like slowly, because tunes like this, they're often on other instruments like fiddles and stuff, jumps like that aren't aren't difficult because you just sort of put another finger down, or you just move the bow over to another string or something. But on a harmonica, it's hard, you know, because you got to sort of, you can't see where you're going. You just got to feel it. So let's just do that really slowly. And then the next thing about that is there's a lot of draw notes you might have sort of noticed. So you can sort of quickly run out of breath if you're not careful. So I think just having a bit of a talk and a think about breathing and how to sort of overcome little sections like that. Because one of the things you sort of see when people are first sort of learning these kind of tunes, and I remember when I do it myself, and you get to the end of the tune, and you feel like you're going to sort of pass out because you're going to hyperventilate because you've been like sort of just learning to sort of just calm down, play it slowly, and not, you know, and not sort of breathe like too much, basically. So the thing is, think about how much breath do you need to play a note, and to be as sort of economical with your breath as you can. So like on a fiddle, if you're playing something sort of you know, at a reasonable pace, you don't want to be using the whole bow. You just use a small bit, because that's all that you need. So the same, like if you think of your breath in the same sort of way, you don't need to be like you can just sort of just use a little bit, and it's almost worth just trying to see how little breath you can use to play something. So what I'm going to suggest is playing that little section, but just using just a nice gentle bit of breath, and maybe just seeing how long you can do it for. So like so if we just do on one in breath of air in, just play that section. Don't worry about accuracy or anything. We're just thinking about breathing and keeping it going. So just go. So all that was on one breath, and like, you know, that's loads of notes, and and it's not because of having like big lungs or anything like that. It's just being sort of economical with what you've got, and that way you don't end up with your lungs like absolutely sort of bursting, and then needing to sort of blow loads and loads of air out, and vice versa, just sort of running out of air. So let's just do that again. And like just taking a bit of a sort of calming sort of breath first, and just using just a small amount of breath, but you'll still get it'll still make a sound. And then the other thing, the sort of byproduct, if you like, of that is by being able to play sort of softer. That means you can sort of add more dynamics to your music, because you can play some notes softer and some louder, and it's not all just on one like level like that. So we could maybe try doing that with the jig time. So you could try playing the first note with a bit more sort of an emphasis, the first of the three. So like ba 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 ba, and then the second two just a bit softer, so that the rhythm really comes out. So yeah, if you could hear that, I was giving it, giving it a push on the first beat, and you don't always have to use the first beat, but that will really bring out the rhythm, and then so the there's a bit coming up then in the tune, so I'll just play that for sort of first the A part again. So then there's a bit that's really similar to the bit we're just doing. So that little bit, it's really similar, but it's using blows rather than draws. So we'll maybe try and do a similar thing, but just with that. So the phrase is. We'll just loop that. So we'll do again. We'll do like giving it a bit of a push on the first beat, and then sort of less on the other two. But we're still not using much breath really. We're just trying to conserve the air. Hang on, where I have to go through the tune in my head. So again, we got loads of notes there, all from one exhale, without feeling the need to faint. And then someone asked earlier about sort of the part, or using a tongue. So you can add emphasis on a beat by either just doing what we did, or if you want to put a tongue block sort of chord. So that's, as I sort of described earlier, you're using your tongue to block most of the notes, but just leaving us, the hole at the end. And then it's up to you how much you use it. But I personally find it's more effective if you use it a bit more economically, because you can sort of get a tune and just sort of like, and just really go for the tongue blocking. But if you just I like just sort of putting a few in, just in here and there, just to sort of emphasize little bits of the tune rather than use it all the time, because then it kind of loses its effect, if you know what I mean. So if I just have a drink of water and we'll play the tune, but put some tongue blocks in, some chords. So really there, I only really put some in at the end, and it didn't really feel like it needed any for the rest of the tune, because, if you use it too much, it can sort of muddy it up a bit. But the B part, so there's a really good bit just to sort of put one in. So because I don't know, it just gives a push on that I don't know, the bit of the tune that just wants it. And there may be some just there, but how much you use is entirely your choice. So anyway, so another thing about this tune. So when I played it at the beginning, I did it in 2 different octaves. I did it on the lower one to start with, and the higher one the second time round, and which is not as straightforward as it might first seem, because as I was saying before, the octaves are tuned differently. So like, I think it's worth doing the same little exercises that we were doing, but we'll do them on the bottom half. As long as you've got a solo tuned harmonica, if you've got a Richter one, then just use it as an opportunity to practice what we were doing before. But as I was saying, if you were in the session before, that on the bottom half, whereas you'd expect the first hole to be the blow to be the C, but it's not. That's the C, that's the blow note, and then the draw note is the D there. So it sort of goes up like that. And if you think of them as each set of 4 as a single hole, it mostly sort of it covers it, but it feels, to me, it feels different in your mouth, because the amount of space you have to move up before you hit that next note is different on the bottom octave to the top octave. So if we just try and play that first phrase really slowly, but in the bottom octave, but try and get it as cleanly as you can. So hang on. It needs more air down there, actually. You can't get quite as many in one breath. Well, again, we'll do it maybe slower. So I don't know if anyone can feel the sort of the difference in the note layout, but yeah, it is different. And then we'll do the that little phrase with the blowing. Again, you can't get as many down there. It needs more air. You can't get as many with one breath. So again, I hope you can sort of feel the difference in the way the notes are laid out, even though it's almost the same. And if you think about it one way, it is the same, but in another way, it's different, and it can trip you up quite a lot. I personally find. So John Clark has said, flute players use circular breathing. Are there any benefits to this technique for the harmonica player? And not that I'm aware of. I wouldn't say. I mean, maybe someone else does, but for me, you're breathing in and out all the time, when especially playing tunes like this. What you'll find is minor tunes, you're breathing in more. Major tunes, you're breathing out more. But there'll always be a point where you breathe in or out. So rather than sort of, a circular breathing thing, you just need to use the opportunities that you have to sort of balance your breath out. So in this tune we're doing now, the first, there's lots of in breaths on that first bit. So at some point you're going to want to get an out breath, and you're not going to be able to put it all through the harmonica, because we're talking about using as little air as you can. So like if then you get to the point where you need to breathe out, that doesn't sort of match up with using the smallest amount of air you can. So you need to find a way to sort of balance it. I'm just going to drink some of this. So really, it's a case of letting some air out, sort of through the kind of the sides. Really, I mean, what you can do, you can if you're doing a tongue block, you can keep a complete sort of seal, so you're not losing any air. But you can also sort of let a bit of air in and out the top there. So there, so I've not lost. You don't want to let any of the air out of the seal of your mouth that you're playing, because you'll lose some of the tone, you know. So you need to find another way. So I used to breathe through my nose a lot, but I really can find it dries out the back of your throat, and you sort of where your nose meets your throat, and you to the point of like getting a sore throat from it. And it still happens a bit, but so I think you're better off playing, getting that breath through your mouth than through your nose. One thing I'll say about tremolos is they dry you out so much. They're just, I don't know, you're breathing in and out a lot, and you can drink like pints and pints of water while you're playing them. So drink more beer. That's right. Can you get tabs for tremolo harmonica like you can for diatonic? Which is a really good question, and I don't know if I have ever really seen them. You probably can, but I get the feeling that most people who play tremolo they go for the ear sound and just try and hear it and try and play it. So tabs can be useful for learning tunes, but I think there's no substitute for being able to just hear the tune and play it. So if they do exist, I don't know where or who, but they could easily exist. You could make them heart tabs. Oh right, okay, yeah. But then the thing is, if you've got a tune that you want to learn, has anyone done the tab for that tune? And if they haven't, then you just got to go on your own with it. So does everything that I've said make sense so far? Has anyone got any questions that they'd like to ask? And if not, we could just maybe try just going through the tune a bit and learning a few more parts of it, and just see how far we get. So that first bit. So that's just a straight rundown. After we've done the bit we were practicing earlier, that's a straight rundown. And then we've got basically the same thing, just repeats, but this time you're blowing. And then so this is where maybe some tabs would be useful. But if it's hard when you can't hear what everyone's playing. I don't want to leave people behind. I also don't want to bore people, but if we just repeat that bit slowly. So we'll go back to the beginning. And then it goes back to the first phase again. And then I might have done that too quick, so let me do that again. So the last phrase. And again, what I'd say is, what you can do is just kind of don't worry about when you're learning it, playing it too cleanly. Just to get to learn the notes and your way around, you can just put your you know, do a sort of a broad brush stroke and just. And just, you know, you can sort of feel your way around, because if you've got your mouth over enough of it, if you blow and suck, you're going to hit the note in the tune. So if you know what the tune is in your head, you'll find it. Does everyone want to sort of keep like looking at the tune like that and learning it, or is it a bit difficult? If I can't actually really see everyone, but yeah, okay, we'll keep going with it then. So we'll go over the A part again, and we'll just play it like really slowly, and just use a broad sort of brush to just sort of feel your way around and find the notes. I'll do it again. I'll do it slower. I'm getting carried away. And then if we have a look at the B part, it starts on whatever note that is. That's the A, but it's easier just to find it than to think about. So it goes. You could do that on the octave lower, so the note layout would be different, but if you just do that. And then the next bit, it's just on the same hole, but with, you know, breathing in and out. So. And then just straight down the scale. So I realise it's a bit, it might be a bit much to just try and learn the tune quickly like this, but I think just the more valuable bit was looking at the little sections that we did and being able to apply them to the wider tune and well, any tune really. So yes, Ben, you're right. You learn the tune in your head. That's the first thing. And then the name of it is the Swallow's Tail Jig, and it's a super common jig that you'll find really easily. In fact, if there's tabs for anything like that, maybe there is for that. So yeah, is there any questions or anything that anyone would like me to go over or anything?
Shall I dare to unmute everyone and see how we go?
Yeah.
Just bear with me, sorry. There we go.
Oh.
Right, I'll give that a miss.
I take it, that might mean that there are quite a few questions. Maybe if anyone wants to type them, or Sam, if you've got anything that.
Yeah, it's just a comment really of when you say about the circular breathing, and I employ that breathing through the nose thing. Certainly, if you've got
right.
to. So that I'm a Luddite, not a Luddite, a heathen. I've got a diatonic, and actually, I was following you on that. I can keep that going, obviously, for a long time by breathing through my nose. But
yeah.
I don't think you have the same problems with you as with a sore throat.
It doesn't seem to happen with on diatonics. It's a tremolo thing. For me, I don't know. Yeah, it's just something about, I don't know about it that that does that. Yeah. So would you use a jaw flicks on any of those tunes? And have you got any tips for those? So the jaw flick thing is something that were really well, it's something that you would do as when the sort of pucker type, you know. And although, because I tend to do tongue blocking, but you can still sort of do it with just by sort of just really quickly playing the next note up on. So the tips, have I got any tips for them? I'm trying to think. It's sort of knowing where to put them really, because you can use it to sort of in place of what would be a cut on a fiddle, where you sort of just play another note quickly above, just to cut the note in two. So you're making it into two notes. I'm complicating the way I'm explaining it, but like instead of playing you could go. So are there great advantages to tongue blocking over puckering that make it worth me trying to relearn? For me, the tongue blocking, it just gives you a better tone, and you can add chords when you want. So, but really, it's up to you which technique you use. But so the question about would you use jaw flicks on this tune? I'm not sure that I would at the minute, but maybe that's something to think about. There's some that I would do that on, and that's and they're the ones that would I would do it on a fiddle. So, and it's hard to sort of explain exactly without sort of going into loads of detail because we haven't got much time. But so on that, there was places where I was using the. So Peter has asked what's a jaw flick. So we've sort of gone into a jaw flick thing, and I'm not like a big jaw flicker, but basically what it is a way of adding sort of ornamentation to tunes, and it's done by just sort of flicking the jaw just to the side to play the note above. So it sounds like. But as a tongue blocker, I don't really do that. But you can just play the note above. But this is something that I've just sort of adapted to my own style and technique, and haven't been taught as such. I've just made it work for me. But in essence, you're just playing the note above really quickly. But yeah, where to do that is a sort of a whole topic in itself that we've not really got time to sort of delve into. But I hope that answers some of the question. So yeah, Sam, do you think
any other questions at all?
You jaw flick on both jaws and blows? Yes, yeah, both. It seems to give a slightly more of on the jaws. It's a bit more punchy to me, like on the blows. Actually, they're pretty similar, but yeah, you do it on both.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah.
Like I say, as I say, it's not really. I'm a beginner to all this, but it sounds to me like on the diatonic, you may sort of make percussive sounds when you like a t-t-t-t. It sounds to me as though it's all a continuous flow when you're playing. So so you're not making those sort of what's the way?
No, I know what you mean. And no, well, I'm not, and that's because I'm tongue blocking. But if you were, you could do that more if you weren't. In fact, you can do more like sort of tongue triplets and stuff if you're not tongue blocking. But I guess some of it is just down to personal style, and there's nothing stopping you from doing more of that stuff that you've described. But
when you did it, then it sounded like it totally lost the flow. So I can sort of
right, yeah.
Using jigs and that, you want it to keep on going.
Well, yeah.
The only other question I've got is how long would it take you to learn a 2 to 3 minute piece, or is that how long is a bit of string sort of question?
It is a bit. Do you mean what, me personally, or?
Yeah. So if someone said, here's this jig, it's 3 minutes long. I mean, I know they have like the I can't remember what the order is, but like the AA, BA, or whatever.
Yeah. It honestly depends. If it's quite an easy one, some tunes are quite easy, and and if you've already got it in your head, or if you've heard it 100 times, you might be able to play it without even practicing. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like I can, the way you could play Old MacDonald without needing to practice it. But then, if it's a big, 6-part jig with loads and loads of different bits and complicated things, and you don't know it, you've not heard it, then it could take ages. So that's
ask us any question.
right, yeah.
Sorry. If anyone else wants to ask any questions, you can unmute your mic now. Otherwise, we can bring it to an end. So I've just seen Ben saying about 3 meters. What's all that about then?
You said how long does it take to play a tune?
Oh. So it wasn't a silly question, at least to you, Ben.
A silly answer. Wasn't a silly question.
We've got a question about the bend notes on a tremolo, and we talked about this earlier, and it is possible to bend some notes, but it's not something that I've really worked out as a way of doing that fits in with the music. In a way, it would be quite good if you could, because that would mean you can get sharps and flats that you can't normally get. So maybe there's a gap in there somewhere, but it's not something you would just do naturally.
I'm mostly a diatonic player,
right?
But I play this sort of music on a diatonic, adapted diatonic. But I play frequently with a tremolo player.
Right.
And he maintains you can't bend tremolo notes, but I believe you can.
It's definitely like physically possible. Like we're doing it. Yeah. It's just fine. It's whether that has a place or not, and maybe it does, but it's not. It just doesn't come naturally as a thing to
Lacking sharps and flats, you might very well be able to use.
Sorry, what was that?
Because you're lacking sharps and flats in this, as opposed to a chromatic.
Yeah.
It might be useful.
Well, it might be, yeah. I mean, some people do that using two tremolos to get the sharps and flats that you can't normally get, which is something that I haven't really spent a lot of time sort of exploring. But yeah, it is possible.
Yeah.
Trevor says, any players? Any recommended players to listen to?
Well, Ernie Gordon, who I think maybe is here or was here, and also Roy Hugman, who is here, are both brilliant Northumbrian players, and obviously the Murphy brothers from Ireland are fantastic. And Donald Black. There's probably more out there as well. That,
Trevor Yo. Oh no, don't listen to Trevor Yo. That's it.
Do I ever use minor key tremolos? I don't, because I just don't own any, and B, because you can get the minor keys on a normal tuned harp, but I am curious about them, because then you get sort of I guess you get the chords and stuff as well. I did nearly buy one that was on offer the other day, but I didn't. So but yeah, if anyone else has used any minor key tremolos, it'd be good to hear about their sort of how they get on with them.
I think I've got one somewhere.
Yeah.
Can I ask who your influences are? Who did you listen to?
Yeah, it tends to be more fiddle players and stuff, really, in a way. Like, you know, some of the great Irish players like Kevin Burke and Tommy Peoples and stuff. Or Catherine Tickell, Northumbrian pipe player. And you can sort of, you know, get some of your phrasing from other instruments and kind of copy that sort of sound. But with harmonicas, Mick Kinsella's brilliant. He's my own voice echoed then, and I thought someone else was speaking. What? I'm just reading. Bruno. I don't know how you pronounce that, but I'll look him up. Kowalczyk.
What's that?
And I have an A and E minor for some American tunes that folk play. Right, okay. So yeah, maybe the minor ones are the next place to explore. But you can play all the tunes, the minor tunes in a normal sort of major tuned harmonica. So yeah, is there anything else?
I had a quick look at Bruno. I can't see. There's nothing obvious unless you're doing genealogy.
Oh well, Matteo, maybe you could put a link up to, or you know.
I think Bruno Kowalczyk appears on YouTube.
Right.
Playing very well, but I think he comes from Quebec. I don't think he's French.
Right. Yeah.
Perhaps he speaks French.
I think there's quite a bit. Sorry, yeah, go on.
Sorry. There you go.
Oh no, just saying that I think there's quite a lot of French Canadian sort of harmonica stuff, like traditional music, but yeah, I don't really know any names.
Yeah.
Pardon?
The tune called "Homage to somebody Parizeau." Homage to. Anyway, he's. If you look that up on YouTube, you'll find Bruno Kowalczyk playing it on the tremolos, two tremolos.
Okay. Right. Oh, I shall look it up. Yeah.
I think Matteo is trying to find something there, but I say, Simon, today, honestly, you're an absolute natural. It's been brilliant. Like I say, I know very little about tremolo, but I've followed everything you say, explained things in such a brilliant way. And
I'm glad, because I've not really. I didn't. It's hard to know if you're just losing people or not, or if you know, because you're just kind of talking and you know.
It's a natural talent, but it really is. You know, there was somebody diatonic playing along, so I think it's very, very inspiring. So just thanks a lot, really. You know, hopefully.
Thanks for coming, everyone. Yeah. No,
Thank you, Simon. Fantastic job. Thank you.